Hey class, this is Professor Dave coming at you today. It's Monday, the beginning of the third week, and first off, I just want to say that the discussion boards have been phenomenal. Thank you so much for the great posts. Some of you have just outstanding grasp of the subject matter. It's just amazing, and it makes for a really fun discussion board. Some of you have posted 8, 9, 10 times. I appreciate that. It makes for a great discussion board. Just keep in mind, sometimes when I post things, it may not be the right thing, but I want you to be able to sit down and take an educated look at it and provide some sort of feedback that is, scholarly in nature. I posted a couple of blogs and I asked you last week if you agreed with it or not. Some of you just put yes, some of you put no, and that's okay if you don't really have the time to sit and dissect it. But one or two of you really got into it, got into meat and potatoes of it, and that really impressed me because I would not expect somebody in the undergraduate program to come up with that. Someone like the colonel who has years of experience would come up with answers like that. So the fact is that you guys came up with answers that somebody in that business would have came up with is just phenomenal. I think it's great. Next, this week in week 3, we have another discussion board, failure to imagination. Also, we have a short paper, terrorism viewpoint. Just want to go over a little bit with you. The concept of terrorism is typically dependent upon one's viewpoint, as well as which side the conflict you support. There is a common saying that one man's terrorist is another man's freedom fighter. That may be true. You look at Afghanistan back when we supplied arms to the freedom fighters, and they were fighting against the Russians. At that particular time, in the viewpoints of the United States, the Russians were the terrorists. So, in the viewpoint of the Russians, the freedom fighters were the terrorists. So, that's a very good statement. Western nations, to include the United States, have been very reluctant to recognize terrorism in any way that could be construed as legitimate warfare. In fact, terrorism is often described as mindless, senseless, irrational violence. However, this is not necessarily the case. Terrorism is objective, oriented, and normally well choreographed to obtain maximum results. Writer and actor Peter Ustinov once famously said that terrorism is the war of the poor, and war is the terrorism of the rich. I want you guys to examine the concept in the short paper. There is no right or wrong answer for this assignment. I just want you to figure your viewpoint, figure your stance, and support it with facts. Now, when doing a short paper, don't use 5, 6 different sources. Because when doing a short paper, if you use 5 or 6 different sources and you run it through the Turnitin function, it's going to cause you to look like you're about 90% plagiarized. And that's just because the paper is so short and you use so many sources. There's not enough words in between the sources to really accurately reflect the paper. So remember to use more than one source, but no more than 2 or 3 on a short paper. 3 is the maximum. I wouldn't go 3, I'd just go 2. If you just use one source, then the paper becomes more of a summary paper. Try to use 2 sources, that way it validates your viewpoint. Make sure you use your APA formatting. You got a cover page, an abstract. Your abstract page may only be a sentence or 2, and then your body, and also remember on your references, the first line goes all the way across, then any lines that follow are indented. Make sure to list them in alphabetical order, and you should have maximum points. So, with nothing else being said, please email me at any time. I got my cell phone on me. I answer emails almost as quickly as they come in. If you need more time on an assignment, don't hesitate to ask. You don't need to get anybody involved. Just ask me. I'll give you the time. I like to do what's called a student contract, and that's where you tell me when you're going to have your assignments done, and I hold you to that. If you don't turn the assignment in when you told me, then I deduct points. But for the most part, everybody meets the goals in which they set for themselves. Again, take care. let's have a good discussion. Bye now.